PlayStation is no shortage of popular 3D platformers, with many of them being released on the console over the years. Some of them would even see ports on other systems with the likes of the Windows PC and even the Sega Saturn of the time. A lot of them would all try to capitalise on the popular formula that would have been previously seen with popular games such as Crash Bandicoot, and even with the Nintendo 64 with the iconic Super Mario 64. A lot of developers tried to capitalise on the trend. Now, while many of the games were very good, some of them had their own distinctive quirks, but they were popular enough to reach mass appeal and create a very distinctive following. And one of the games that managed to do that was Croc, Legend of the Gobbos. It was released for the PlayStation, Sega Saturn and Windows PC in 1997. And while it didn't receive as higher reviews compared to other popular platformers of the time, it's still one of the most memorable and most iconic of these style of games that were released on the console. And it's also one of the most highly regarded because people often talk about the game. If they refer back to these elements with regards to gameplay styles, Croc usually does come up in conversation quite a lot. There's even still people today still playing the game with regards to doing gameplay videos on YouTube and the like, so it is a highly popular game, even to the point that only recently, as of recording this video, a new remaster of the game is in the works that has only just been announced, that you can find trailers on YouTube itself if you go and look, with updated visuals. And I have seen the trailer myself. I've seen it only recently, and I have to say they've done a really good job in terms of its overall presentation, but also keeping with the original style and format of the iconic game. It doesn't lose any of its appeal, just the graphics have been tweaked and just look way better. But in saying that, it doesn't take away from how good the game looked on the PlayStation. Yes, it's simplistic in terms of how it presents itself, but at the same time it's a challenging game all the same. It can be tough in certain areas, as a lot of the levels, yes, they're quite linear in terms of how they present themselves, but you usually have to complete a variety of different challenges, with a lot of them being that you have to acquire certain gems or keys to unlock areas to explore, also to unlock cages to save your friends. But there's certain areas that you can't get into at the start of the game. You'll need to come back when you've acquired more items and leveled up in order to be able to gain access to them once you've acquired different abilities. Now, even going back to the control system could be a bit on the clunky side at times, especially in the early days of the console, but that didn't take away from how popular the game was. My first experience with this game was on a demo disc that came with one of the monthly UK PlayStation magazines, and in fairness, I genuinely found myself being hooked on the game. I just loved the visual style of it. It was very quirky, very cartoony, the graphics are extremely bright and vibrant, and it's just a fun little game to play, but at the same time presents enough challenge that if you want something that's like even Crash Bandicoot, but also even has elements when you see like Tomb Raider for instance, where you're having to jump and grab onto platforms, it has a lot of similarities to all of those games, and it provides a good balance in that degree. Just the controls, I will admit, especially on the original PlayStation, can be a little bit tricky, but let's just hope that they can fix that with the likes of the modern remake, and I'm sure that they will. But regardless, the PlayStation version is just as much fun to play as it's ever been. If you're a fan of the game, or if you're a fan of 3D platformers in general, I think for me personally this is one of the best that you can play on the console. It has great graphics, great visual appeal, there's enough challenging gameplay here that definitely will appeal to the masses. In fairness, it's just a lot of fun, aside from the controls and sometimes the altered camera that can definitely play tricks with you, but aside from that, it's a good solid game. I highly recommend that you play it. It's a lot of fun. Plus, if you want any alternatives to the likes of the Crash Bandicoot series and other games like it on the console, you won't go go wrong with this game. But regardless of what I think of it, I would love to hear your thoughts of this game. Are you a fan of the Croc series? And which of these style of games do you prefer, or what other games are like this that you also like playing on the PlayStation back in the day? So be sure to share it down in the comments below. And if you would like to see more content of more iconic platformers like this that were also released on the console, then be sure to check out this playlist here on screen to see more of those games in action. And as always, keep those gaming memories alive.